Whew. Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys keep me sane. You guys definitely keep me sane. Interesting day. The Cowboys, if nothing else, you have to look at the Cowboys and say they are at least active in trying to make moves. They are trying to scratch off the list of things that they need to do before the draft, filling in as many holes as possible. And, I got to say, I'm kind of happy, now the more I've looked at it and the more I've heard people talking about it, I'm okay with Joe Milton trade. Cowboys actually maybe have made a better deal than what they did with Trey Lance. How sad is it that Trey Lance was a first-round top 5 pick, and you almost have to look at Trey Lance and say that he's a bigger bust than pretty much anybody else. He didn't even really get the opportunities, and he is literally persona non grata. You're seeing all kinds of guys out there that weren't the pedigree of a first-round draft pick that are getting opportunities. Nobody's picking up the phone to give him a call. That's unbelievable. You have to look at this and say the San Francisco scouting department was way the hell off. And speaking of being way the hell off, I've been, got a lot of things that are going on at the same time right now and so on. And I haven't gotten to the Brock Purdy literally saying, "We were tired, boss. We were real tired," and putting that out as an excuse. And nobody's covered that. 5 days ago. Remember when D-Law talked about being tired? How the world went crazy? But be that as it may, it's because it's the Dallas Cowboys. So we do have something more. I've just seen a clip from Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is a national treasure. Pat McAfee going through, using a quote from Jory Epstein, and maybe we have clarification on why Jerry Jones was negotiating with Micah Parsons. In fact, here's what I want you to do. Go ahead right now. I want you to watch the clip right now of Jerry Jones, about Jerry Jones on Pat McAfee. Go ahead.
He obviously is up for a contract. Myles Garrett just got $40 million a year, allegedly. Okay, and with these contracts and with what they're being reported, with what they actually are, Christian Benford of the Bills was reported to be having
it was 4 years, $19 million. It was actually 4 years, $17.25 million per year.
Which doesn't seem like that much of a difference, but whenever we're talking about reporting contracts and then comps and what other people should be asking for, what is normally out in the public is not accurate. So what is Myles Garrett actually getting? Is it actually $40 million? I guess we'll find out. Nonetheless, Danielle Hunter signs, Myles Garrett signs, Micah's up, TJ's up, Trey up for money. Trey was told by the Bengals allegedly last year that they would take care of it this offseason. Hopefully they'll do that. Micah is feeling the same exact way, as if he should get his deal done. Micah allegedly was talking to Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones about what could potentially become. He directed them to David Mulugeta. Jerry Jones was asked about that. He said, I don't know who that is. Well, he's about to learn. He's about to learn about who, David Mulugeta is. Today, there was a couple quotes that have come out from Jory Epstein about Jerry Jones speaking about the situation. He once again said, most everything that I've ever had success with, I've overpaid for. But I'll tell you, I've had it well analyzed when I did it. Usually, I'm a fat payer. I'm not bashful about sending the money out. What he just said there, I'll let you know, I'm well analyzed when I do this, though. It is worth it. Which leads to the next quote that he says about Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones on Micah Parsons, to be the player that he wants to be paid as, he has to be a tremendous leader for the Dallas Cowboys. I want to personally have total and complete satisfaction that I've got a commitment from him and that I can see that it's not just contract talk. So what he's saying is, first of all, when I overpay people, it's well analyzed. In my heart and in my brain, when I lay my head down, this is good money going to a good person. So him then coming out and saying, I want Micah to be the guy here. If this is how this is going to be, I want him to be the guy. And I would like to know that and have total, complete satisfaction.
So that's an interesting take. that Jerry Jones is kind of going like a father to a son and saying, son, I know you need this money and you want to get yourself a new car and you want to buy a nice new fancy house and things. This is gonna cost me a pretty penny, and I got no problem spending money. You know that we buy the finest wines that 7-Eleven sells there, and so we're gonna take care of you. But see, here's what I need from you, son. See, I need to know that you're behind. It's not going to be out there in Tokyo with some sumo wrestlers and things pushing the big fat guys pushing around. Hey, by the way, do you have some of their phone numbers? We might be able to use some of those guys on the offensive line because, I bet you they'll be a little bit cheaper than, say, Terrence Steele there. And, we like those wide bodies. And I'm sorry, I digress. But I need to know, son, that you're going to be there for OTAs and being the real leader. And that podcast, I always like more publicity and things, but I need you to cool it with doing those shows with, those Eagle players like Big Play Slay. He ain't on that team anymore, is he? I need to know that you're all in for the Dallas Cowboys and that you're going to be doing the right thing by being here and setting the example. Because, when you're here, son, when it's voluntary, and it's not really voluntary because we're putting an incentive for you to be here for the season, okay? We're going to put that incentive in there. But see, they don't need to know that. They want to know that, hey, if Micah Parsons, who's a superstar, he's there practicing and he's busting ass, he's in there doing the grind, I can't complain because I ain't Micah Parsons. And that's leadership, son. That's leadership by example. And you can set the tone for this team because, I don't know how many more Sundays I got left, son, but I need to see me one more of those trophies before I check out here and turn the team over to that jackass son I had. I'm sorry, did I call Steven? Steven, he throws me against the wall, Micah. Yes, I wanted to get that, get that Johnny Manziel, and he went crazy, man. He attacked me, Micah. You gotta understand, that boy attacked me. And I'm afraid he's gonna start locking me in the closet. They told me I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk at the combine. Had my bus there and I was ready to talk, and they said, no, Dad. See, you see how they treat me, Micah? See, Micah, I need you, son. I need you, son, to sign this contract, get this thing done, and make sure you're there setting the tone for the Dallas Cowboys. Something like that. And, of course, Micah says, okay, talk to David Magenta. And David, who has been disrespected, I'm sure isn't going to make it easy on him. Now, I was hoping that they would get the deal done, and maybe they get it done tomorrow, because Micah will be flying on that big Elton jet airliner to D.C. for the CSA show this weekend. Shout out to my son, Michael Anthony, Fitness Reaction, electrician, and I don't know if he's still doing gig economy, but shout out to him because he's doing great electrical work and everything else. I am so fortunate and so proud of my kids. My daughter is about to become a RN, a registered nurse, and Michaela, she of course is doing it up with her YouTube channel. She's got not one but 2 YouTube channels that are over 100,000 subscribers. Whew. But Mike has been putting in the work with the CNC machine doing plaques. We got Brandon Aubrey plaques. We got Zach Martin plaques. We got, we were going to have one for Dak, but Dak, of course, isn't going to show up. But we've got Randy White plaques and things. So we're going to be getting some of these plaques autographed this weekend for you guys, because we're going to be giving more of those away, because that's what I like to do, is to spread the mojo. But I'd hoped that Micah Parsons' deal was going to be done before the autograph signing show this weekend, so that way we could say to Mike, hey Micah, can I hold something? Can I hold something, man? All jokes aside, things. We'll see if we can get it done, and we'll see if the team continues to build. as I've said, I was nice enough, shout out to Law Nation, because this morning when I saw Joe Milton was signed, I saw Law was already on it, had live streaming things on it, call-in show. I called in, and he was like, man, you got to co-host with me. So I stayed on for about an hour and a half and things, just talking about this. But what I was pointing out, Cowboy fans, I'm not trying to convince you that, everything's great and we're headed to the Super Bowl. I'm not. But I'm just saying, pointing out some of the positive things that have happened. And I think it's a good thing that the Cowboys are trying to get the players on the roster as soon as possible, so that way they are here for OTAs. Because the OTAs are critical, because you're getting most of your teaching. They're doing installs in OTAs because, see, you want to get to training camp where you've basically gone through the plays. They know what the plays are. Training camp is where you're going to refine it. The Cowboys too often are still bringing in players after training camp. Well, the problem with that is training camp, you only have 14 padded practices. After that, you can't have more than one padded practice in a week. So you really can't work at game speed except during the games. So you need to have people there, especially now that you got Brian Schottenheimer as a new head coach, especially now that you got Matt Eberflus, our third defensive coordinator in 3 years, to get everybody on the same page. And that's why it's important for Micah Parsons to be here for OTAs. And I think that's, or at least that's what Pat McAfee is trying to say. Jerry Jones wants to know that he is all in if he's going to give him this money. I don't think it's a matter of if any longer. It's just a matter of when they finally get the paperwork done on it. And I'm assuming that it's going to come pretty quick. And it'll be interesting to see what other moves the Cowboys have to do. Now, before I get ready to get out of here, I will say this. Stephen Jones hasn't lied to you. He said, we want to address our wide receiver room. We want to do something about quarterback. We want to fill in the holes. Every single thing Stephen Jones has said, we have been doing. So you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, at least, to see what happens the rest of the season. So there's that. I of course been going through a lot, and I have no room to complain about losing my father, because I know, like Gina Thorne, she lost her dad and her father-in-law recently. I know Law Nation lost his mom recently. I know Curtis lost his wife this past year. There's so many people who have lost loved ones. I am just one of many. So I am not the only person who has lost a loved one. And I have been blessed because my father did make it for 85 years here, and was my dad up until the moment he died, and having a great day. And I could still carry on a conversation. It was blessed to speak with him 2 hours before he died. A regular conversation. What has been heartwarming, that I wish that we could treat each other the way people have been treating me the last month because of losing my father-in-law, Poppy, and my dad, Tyrone. I wish we could treat each other like this without losing somebody. I got an email from Jay Maxwell, who is a Bang Bang Niner Gang guy who has been literally killing me with emails about how stupid my takes are, how illiterate I am, how much the Cowboys suck and everything else. Just literally reading me the riot act. That when I see it, it's like, oh Lordy, it's Jay Maxwell. And he sent me an email that was so heartfelt, I thought maybe his email had been hijacked. You know, evidently he's an older guy, must be about the same age as I am, that his dad is 88 years old, and, you know, he's saying that, you know, at some point he's going to be going through the same thing I am, and sent such kind things that literally I'm like just blown away. Just blown away by the kindness from so many people. What it has actually done for me is restore hope in the community. And I appreciate that. I really and truly appreciate that. So we have all around us signs that let you know how important and precious life is. Don't wait to tell people you love how much you love them. Just don't. You don't want to live with the regret of not telling somebody you loved them before they went. And I love you guys. And thank you for all you do. Good night, people.